This is page 119 of your math journal. We're going to call this one Equations and Inequalities. Review. Alright, let's first remember what an equation is. An equation compares sets two expressions equal to each other. So, example, 2 plus 4 equals 6. Equal sign is important. It's like an expression, but we have equals in here. 3x plus 2 equals 9. Those are equations. Okay? An inequality, on the other hand, compares two expressions. Okay, and we compare it with these symbols. Greater than, or less than, greater than, less than or equal to, or greater than or equal to. Okay? These mean can be equal. Okay, so these two symbols can be equal. These ones cannot be equal. So, how to solve equations and inequalities. Okay, I gave you a few steps. First one, identify your variable. Okay, step 2, identify operation to undo. Third, do the opposite or the inverse operation. And step 4, check your answer. Okay, let's do an example over here. So if I have 2/3 x equals 12. If I have 2/3 x equals 12. Step 1, identify my variable. My variable is x. So I'm going to say that x is multiplied by 2/3. So that's actually step 1 and 2. Identify my variable, it's x, is being multiplied by 2/3. So I need to undo multiplication. How am I going to do that? I'm going to divide. So, do the inverse operation, and then in parentheses I want both sides. Okay, do it to both sides. So here I'm going to divide by 2/3. Remember, that's going to cancel it out. So I'm going to divide this side by 2/3. So that gives me x on this side. And then I'm going to do 12 divide by 2/3. So I'm going to keep the first, flip the second, change the sign. Okay, going to cross cancel here to make this easier. 2 goes into here once, 2 goes into here 6 times. Multiply across the top, 6 times 3 is 18 over 1. So that means that x equals, after doing this, I get 18. Now I need to check my answer by plugging it back in. So 2/3 times 18 over 1 should give me 12. Okay, cross cancel here. That gives me 1 and 6. 2 times 6 is 12. 12 over 1 is the same as 12. Those match. They do work. Okay, it's the same for inequalities, except for inequalities you have to realize that there's more than one possible answer. So we're going to do a few examples. Let's do f minus 7.1 equals 6.6. And let's do m over 4 equals 11. Okay, my variable is f. I'm minusing 7.1, so to undo that, I'm going to add 7.1 because that's opposite. Those cancel out, so I have to add 7.1 here. By adding 7.1, I get 7, 13, don't forget your decimal, so f equals 13.7. So I'm going to plug it back in. 13.7 minus 7.1 needs to give me 6.6. Well, when I minus this from this, minus 7.1, I get 6. I have to borrow. 13 minus 7 is 6. Those match. That means that this is the right answer. Just like up here, this checked out as well. Okay, here I have m divided by 4. So to undo dividing by 4, I'm going to times it by 4. Cancel that out. That means I have to times this side by 4 as well. Probably should be using a dot instead. 11 times 4 is 44. So I get m on this side equals 44 on the right side. Check my answer. 44 divided by 4 gives me 11. That is a true statement. 11 equals 11. Okay, so that's solving equations. Now let's try a couple of inequalities. We do need to remember about graphing inequalities too. So these here, I want you to write equations have one, and circle that, one answer. Okay? Solving inequalities, on the other hand, inequalities have many answers. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to be finding the boundary, or where it starts or stops. So let's say we have 3m is greater than or equal to 6. And let's say we have, we're going to do 3 of them here. 10 is greater than n plus 4. And then let's do r over 3 is less than or equal to 7. Okay, now we've got our inequalities. Let's solve them. Find your variable m. What's happening to it? It's being times by 3. How do I undo timesing by 3? I'm going to divide by 3. Divide by 3. That leaves me with m on this side, 2 on this side, and the symbol just stays the same. Now here, this means that m can be anything bigger than 2 or equal to 2. So I'm going to graph the inequality. So I need to find 2 on the number line. I'm just going to write 2, 3, 4, 1, 0, kind of get an idea. There's my simple number line. Okay, on 2, because it can be equal, I'm going to put a filled dot. Equal dot, equal means it's filled in. And then I'm going to draw an arrow in the direction that m can be. So m can be anything bigger than 2. So I'm going to draw an arrow in the direction that is larger than 2. Alright, here ends my variable. At 4 was added to it, so I need to take away 4 from both sides. 10 minus 4 is 6. N is left by itself now because that canceled out. Same symbol. Now here on this number line, I need to find 6 on the number line. 7, 5. Good enough for a number line. Just need to be able to find where 6 is. Because this can't be equal, it's an open dot. 6 is not included. N can be anything smaller than 6. So I'm going to draw an arrow for everything smaller than 6. Okay, r was divided by 3 to get 7. So to undo that, I'm going to times by 3. Times this by 3, that gets r by itself. 21 is on this side. Same inequality. Draw a number line. I need to find 21 on my number line. 22 would be right here. And this could be the same with fractions or decimals. These just happen to all be whole numbers. 20. So closed dot because it can be equal. So I'm going to put a filled in dot or closed dot on 21. And then r has to be smaller than 21. So I'm going to go in the direction that is smaller than 21. Alright. Sometimes you're going to be asked to write an equation and solve it for a problem or an inequality. Let's say we had a story like this. Alice bought some candy. It cost $3.50 a pound. Her total was $5.25. How much did she buy? Alright, so we need to write an equation for this. So we know Alice bought some candy. There's a clue. I know it exists, but I don't know what it is. That's a clue that I'm going to need a variable. So, some candy, I'm going to use C for candy. Now, it costs $3.50 per pound. That means for every pound of candy she bought, it was $3.50 per pound. So we have to define a variable. C equals pounds of candy. So an equation would be $3.50 times C times the amount of candy she got would equal $5.75. There would be an equation to match the story. Now to figure out how much she bought, I would undo by dividing by 350. So if I divide this by 350, oh, 525. Make sure you get the right numbers on there, not 575. 525. Okay, and then I divide this by $3.50. I would get C by itself over here because that cancels out. And over here, I would get 1.5. That means she bought 1.5 pounds of candy. Okay, check your answer. We could do 3.5 times 1.5 and prove it. 5 times 5 is 25. 5, regroup 2. 5 times 3 is 15. Plus 2 is 17. 0 placeholder. 1 times 5 is 5. 1 times 3 is 3. Okay, if I add this together, I get 5.25 because there's 2 places behind the decimal. Okay, so check your answer, make sure it's right.